I think we got it.
Rising above the storm.
Hello there, Jessica. Good to see you.
Hey, Miss Jessica. How are you?
So, guys, trying to get this thing going, and looks like we got something going. Okay, good. More people are joining. See Space River News, Mark Perez. And, this is going to be very, very impromptu. Renee, Rick, sound check 1, 2, nuclear quantum lasers, pew 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 in the house. Penny's here. Awesome.
Hi, Miss Penny Love Dance. Mark. Nuclear quantum lasers, pew pew pew.
Oh, we missed you too. We've been doing so much, and as everybody should be, we've been going in a lot and prioritizing, the spiritual side of things, trying to stay grounded and connected as the world is, obviously going crazier every day.
Yeah. So I think that's the whole point, is they want us in a low vibration. So they're kind of rattling our world right now, trying to get us in a low vibration for other things to come. And for their plan to work really good, we need to be in fear. So we're trying to go within and thwart that.
And we're making amazing connections, really, and we're getting a lot of insight. And, it's pretty damn simple when you get down to this. This is truly all about our consciousness and our vibes. And everything that you see going on around you is really all about creating fear. It really is. It doesn't mean that bad things are not happening in the world, because they are, and we recognize that. But at the same time, it's our response. It's our response that's key, because our personal vibrations are going to determine what happens to us.
It is, and the higher vibe we can be, it feels like the better off we're going to be. And that's that. And we've been taught to dismiss these things as just silliness or imagination. But when reality, it's the core of everything. It's the thick of it.
It is. And so one of the things that I think came through Cindy's channeling was, and I even forget, because we've been connecting constantly now, was that basically we're at that Tower of Babel time again. Oh. This is the whole Tower of Babel all over again right now.
Yeah, and it seems like they're going to use every tool they have at their disposal to keep our vibration low. And there's nothing, as far as they're concerned, as getting to their goal, nothing is going to stand in their way. And we need to remember that.
Yeah, truly we are fighting dark forces here. And how do you fight dark forces? You can't go down to their level. That's the key. So, that's what they're counting on right now. And good to see you, Maya. Hope everything is well in Mexico. Renee said very little sleep last night. That was me the night before. It was just impossible. And last night, I did sleep better, but my gosh, the dreams are just crazy, vivid. They're just wild.
Yeah, I've been seeing connecting to a lot of different beings lately, which is really a lot of fun. And I think it kind of raises my vibration every time I do, because when I come out of it, I can feel myself, kind of go chunk, 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 down, 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 back into what we would perceive as reality right now. And last night, there was I saw this lady at the end of the bed, and she was dressed in 1970s attire. So it feels like there was a portal opened a few weeks ago, and it let a lot of stuff in.
Yeah, good and bad. Yeah, there's been both in. So Crystal Core Art says my son Sky just told his teacher he can't do assignments from the news, too much anxiety. And he also asks only to watch Evolutionary Energy Arts for his news.
Well, that's wonderful. How old is your son?
So that is awesome. I see Scott's there too. Scott, I tried to get on our Discord again and wasn't able to. I don't know if there was something up with that, but there have been a couple of people asking about the Discord. And honestly, let us share with you guys what we got today too. Like what we basically got was that when we are done doing work on the computer, we're shutting everything off. You know, because this is a war on many different levels, and they can send energies through the phones, through the computer. They watch our every move. We know that, but they're also sending signals and stuff. I mean, I found the 741 hertz to be great. You know, that has really been a godsend listening to these, because I really feel like as soon as I start listening to this vibration, you know, it starts to raise me up, and it's helped with the meditation and doing the mantras. So, you know, again, I would strongly recommend listening to something like that. But when we're going to kind of unplug, which is going to be most of the time, we're just really going to unplug now, literally shutting the phones down, unplugging things, and just staying far away from it.
How long has it been out?
I don't know.
Since I went like this? Like that?
Maybe.
Oh.
Can you guys hear me? Let me know.
We'll talk. Oh my god.
No sound still?
Crap. It's them.
Can you guys hear me now? I feel like we have sound now. Let's see. Okay. You know, that was the weirdest thing. I don't know. She wouldn't share it with me, but Cindy just gasped, and then the sound went off. So she saw something on, and probably on the other side, screwing with things again. I'm guessing she saw the tall gray, because the Draco and the Draco are real, and the Draco is the Satan that is talked about in the Bible. And they use different grays, you know, and the Illuminati are their tool. And this is who we're fighting.
It is, you know, and there was, you know, I don't remember the messages that I got today, but I do know, like, instinctually, I want further and further away from technology, because it just feels like that's what the universe is trying to pull us into, is like a technology-based thing. And I know instinctually, like you guys know instinctually, that's not a good idea because of the EMFs and stuff. So, yeah, they're going to use everything at their disposal to control us and make us eat what they want us to eat. Okay, so Michael's saying
Share
really
with them.
share. Fine. So I looked over. I saw that it was a big black being peeked in the window, and then right when he peeked in the window, that's when the sound went off. It was black. It was big and black.
So it was like a wraith.
It could have been. Yeah. Yeah. It was horrible. That's what made my heart drop.
So, that's what's giving us these technical errors. It's not necessarily a military guy listening in, somebody at Google. There really are these other dimensional beings. And, Cindy you should have seen it. You should have seen the look on her face because her jaw just dropped. She looked over towards me, which I'm sitting right by the window. She looked over to the side and her jaw dropped. And then the sound went off, So, yeah, Zeke is really sensitive to them. He's always able to sense them, too.
Did bark too that time.
Yeah, Zeke and Sassy started to bark, So so Space River News says you guys need Jesus, grays flee in the name of Jesus. Yeah, they do, and they flee whenever we have love and recognize love in our heart, but also recognize our inherent power. Because I've honestly been fighting these things all my life, and they'll do mischief to me, but they can't really attack me directly. But they'll do mischief like turning off my mic and playing with the computer and stuff. But no, we have, but see, that's the thing that's misguided partly because they've twisted all our religions. They've twisted everything. So you got some truth, you got some lies, and it makes for an easy way to control us and pit us against each other. And that's the bottom line. And that's why they don't want, my message getting out. The message that we're trying to get out is we got to look past thinking that, only our particular dogma is the right dogma, because the forces of light are unified and they're trying to fight the forces of darkness. Meanwhile, a lot of times we're arguing over which force of light, is the only force of light. They don't argue about that type of thing. They just want to basically help free humanity from these dark energies. And I've cleared countless places with, when I was with the Paranormal Society and just on my own as well. I've done so many cleansings and gotten rid of people, but these beings, I have dealt with them, like I said, for so long, and they will leave. And I've also worked with, the entity that you would call Christ on the etheric. And there are other entities like that, very, very much Christ-like entities. There's so many benevolent ones that are out there ready to help us.
They are. They do want to help us. I do feel them coming in, and when I do go into like a trance, I have so much love in my heart, and I just have this feeling that if we can all emit this frequency, it's going to mitigate some kind of damage. I'm not exactly sure what. I can't really pick stuff apart and articulate it, but it's like a knowing. It's a knowing that if we can raise our frequency, it's going to mitigate some damage that's we know is well on its way. Testing. Can you guys audio off again? Wow.
Can you guys hear us? Let me take it.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. So we're okay. Good. Yeah, it just feels like it's such a struggle to get this information out. And when things are a struggle, that means they're generally true. We're learning from this end, when the word is hard to get out, they're usually tinkering with the 3D, firewall of it. And they can, because they're energy beings and the internet is energy. So they do have a way to manipulate it. And that's where they do it. They'll manipulate where they can, but they can't necessarily mess with our 3D experience too much. They can come into our energy field and they can screw us up. But we do have ways to pull ourselves back together, and it just feels like now's the time to go deep within pull ourselves together, raise our vibration, and not stress so much.
And Anna says the poles are shifting. Yeah, there's a whole side of things I want to talk to on the other side. I think we'll try to go live. We'll do a test going live in just a little bit on the other channel, because yeah, I'm feeling things strong, and there's more coming. There's more coming than just what they're playing with, as far as obviously more coming than the virus situation, the lockdown. There's real big earth changes are coming. That we're heading into a totally different place now. And we're going to start to see some big things going down. But they're not necessarily bad things. It's a reaction. Again, the controllers in this planet, they've been a plague to the planet itself. They are not from here, so whether we want to call them demons or extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings, they're very negative, and they don't value life. They feed off of fear, and they love to slaughter innocents, and they love to destroy the planet. And as we've said many, many times, the Earth is a living entity, and the Earth is going to start shaking these entities off like a flea. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of good people in the mix too. But the Earth changers are going to go up to a much higher level. We're getting very close to that happening. And yeah, I could feel the earthquake this morning. There's a 5.0 in Texas. I'm not sure what I felt, whether it was feeling that earthquake in Texas, but I felt a boom that felt more like a bomb, and then the earth was just reeling. It felt like we were on a boat. So that's also partly because we're very sensitive, and I get that sometimes when I'm doing my meditation and my rooting, and I connect to the earth, and I can feel the entire earth reeling now. Things are really changing.
They are, and we are getting more sensitive, and it does feel like our abilities are coming online, and they're going to do what they got to do to keep us from understanding them and learning about them. And like Michael was saying, it does feel like, oh crap, humanity is starting to figure out the real picture, because we were talking to a really nice man yesterday who normally we would just assume that he doesn't see things the way we do, because there's kind of few and far between of us. But he was talking about how he believes, with maybe the reptilians kind of got with the humans and made a hybrid. He says, I know you guys are going to think I'm absolutely crazy and way out there, but this is what I believe. So when I hear that coming from someone that I just happen to run across, I know that our abilities are coming online, and I do think the sun is sending us information that we need to help us figure out who we are, where we're from.
Yeah, there's so much more to us. And again, part of the reason why these beings will flee is because we have source in us, and it's recognizing it. It's not like you can only get rid of beings if you use one particular name. And you could get into the semantics and say, well, Jesus never really existed. And then people will say, well, yeah, you're talking about Yeshua or Yehovashua or Yesu. If we want to get into the linguistics of it, JESES never really existed in that sense. But there was a being there that was a teacher of light that did exist. And, again, and he is one of a lot of the teachers of light that have come to the planet to help raise our vibrations. And so what they do is they do a Tower of Babel, and they get us divided. They get us separated because of dogma, really pointless, stupid things that just are there to keep us separated, to keep us in lower vibes. And then they are able to control us. So we have to get really past that. And, oh yeah, this one. So these type of things. So now we're starting to see all sorts of stuff, because this is I don't know, PJN Knacker 01. And so what you see is something taking off. And, he's just filming Venus. And all of a sudden something shoots off. So, and goes off into space. The fact is we've never been alone. That's the bottom line. We've never been alone. We've had other beings here the whole time we've been here. And there's been beings here before we were even here. And there's all sorts of different entities. So, like if you look at the Bible closely, you see 2 creation stories. And there's a reason for that, because there are very, very advanced beings that are super benevolent. That all they do is they go around doing like Star Trek and terraforming planets, moving this planet here, tweaking this star a little bit, and getting things in the right spot so that life can abound, as life expands throughout the universe. That's what they do. They are the original creator gods. And then we have the Anunnaki hijacking, and then you have the Draco and their hijacking. So, the Anunnaki, if we look at Enlil and Enki, those beings are reptilian humanoids. They are reptilian humanoids. They're not the Draco. The Draco are different. But they're also not the Nagas, because the Nagas are different as well. And some Nagas are actually more benevolent and wise. So that's where everything's kind of distorted, because we have been taught to lump some things together without distinguishing between them. And, it's not always an either or. It could be all of the above to a degree, but there's a little bit of twisting and distorting of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely is. I miss Ricky. Miss Ricky Spence. It's great. I'm glad you guys could all make it. This is wonderful. Very wonderful. As far as our education system goes, I feel like the only reason they have a public school system and they make it like illegal if you don't go, parents can go to jail if we don't get our free education that we should be so grateful for, is because if we don't go, we won't be good little batteries for their system that they have. Ooh, he's going to pull these up. He's going to go, oh my God, this makes me dizzy. Yikes.
Okay, so when we're talking Enlil and Enki, which one looks closest to it?
That one's a good rendition right there.
Okay.
He's he's horrible. He's made me dizzy before.
Okay, so it's because honestly we've been doing a lot of channeling info, and we've been working with a lot of higher dimensional beings and getting some clarity on stuff. So when we're talking like Enlil and Enki, you're looking at something that looks a little bit more like this. It's humanoid, but reptilian skin. And this is, unfortunately or fortunately, we're a hybrid. We have a lot of different DNA in us, including this DNA. And when we're talking about the Draco, we're talking about something even bigger and uglier yet. As far as like, what would you say when you're seeing something that's more like the Draco? More like this one?
Yeah, something like that. Wait, scroll up. Also, this, yeah, he's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Those things over there, yeah. They're nasty. They have a horrible energy. These things have an energy like, it'll make you shake. It'll make your skin crawl. You won't be able to crawl out of your skin fast enough. It's the frequency that they carry is quite miraculous. They're powerful beings, they're nothing to like, snuff at, because they can do things, and I do believe that they're part of the higher control matrix.
And she has actually seen them often.
Yeah, they're huge. They're huge, and they're nasty, and they're mean, and I feel like they've been trying to control my vibration and my ability to help people almost all of my life. And they'll stop at nothing to try to control me one way or another. These things, they're smart yet deceitful. And it's like I can feel the energy come when it gets close to me. I start to shake. And strangely enough, I feel like they controlled certain family members when I was growing up, but I didn't know what was happening when I was younger. Like I would feel this horrible fear inside of me when I was little. I could never make any sense of it, but now that I know what I know, looking back, it all makes sense. And I believe if you're someone who can help raise the vibration, they're going to hold you down as best as they can, because you could be a key to helping raise the mass collective vibration. They don't want that.
No, because basically we're a food source for them. We're a resource. They feed off of all the dark energies. That's why they create the endless wars, because the endless war is endless food. It's just a barbecue for them. That's all it is. So, that's what is going on here. Now, when we talk about Nagas, we're talking about something very different. And let's see if, so, you see this in the Hindu mythologies. Seshanaga, and here you see Krishna standing on top. Mm-hmm. So these beings, some believe that these beings have been on Earth way before the Draco ever came here, even before the Anunnaki came here. And these beings are ancient, and they are 5D, mostly 5D, and they do live on the inner Earth. But they have wisdom. They're not...
indifferent.
Yeah, they're more indifferent. You wouldn't say that they're benevolent, but they have worked with humanity in the past. They're more like, what are you going to do for me? I'll do for you. More along those lines. Not necessarily, though, out to hurt us. Not out to, use us or anything.
More. I feel like they are working with us more to help raise the vibration, because they understand in the bigger picture of it all, they benefit too.
Yeah, because they're still on this planet, even though they're on a higher density.
Yeah. That's exactly what I get. And the one that I saw about a week ago was a white one, and then we found that tarot card, which was really interesting, and that one brought peace and harmony and good things.
And so these guys, I've had a personal encounter with this guy, and when I woke up in December 2017, it was doing something to my lower dantian. So we've gone in and asked questions about that and got answers on that. And what it was doing was it was basically causing an energy leak in me, so that when I was exposed to the red tide, I could actually get sick. And, honestly, from my QiGong, I hadn't been sick in over a decade, not even a single cold or anything. I was basically impervious. So that's what he did. He slipped in the middle of the night and created an energy leak. But I woke up and I could see him, and he was surprised that I could see him.
Yeah, he was. That's the information that I got. And they did tinker with your chakra, created a slow leak. So, and also they got you when you were vulnerable because you were under a lot of stress.
Yeah, that was actually when I was building the channel. So that was when the channel was first created, and I had no income at that particular time. Very, very little income. So we were struggling financially, but I just knew I had to build the channels because it was just the next part of my mission in this life. So these guys work under the Draco, under Draco control. To me, he had a very workmanlike attitude. It didn't feel like that dark energy that like sucks the life force out of you. It just felt like he was doing a job he had to do, and I don't feel any emotions, these beings at all, at least out of this particular one. And I wouldn't call them benevolent, Didn't
I just talk about one with the black eyes here?
You did.
I don't know what that one is, but that's what it looked like.
This one?
Yeah. That one, I don't remember too much about it when I was talking about it, but this one came to me, with a group of others. It's like they are our galactic family is definitely here helping us, and but I think that it's a free will universe, so you have to allow them in, or you have to ask them in. So yeah, and the one with the black eyes there, I did see that one. And we have a lot of galactic family and ancestors that are coming in to try to help us during these times. And that's the information that I'm getting when I kind of go into a trance. That's what they're conveying through my energy field. And I kind of take on the essence of the being that's trying to communicate through me. I mean, I'm pretty new, but I'm doing it. I'm a little bit like a motorbike. I kind of get started and get running, and then it dies. So the connection can and will get stronger. So information that I get, I can forward to you guys and help us. And that way, as a collective, we will grow stronger.
Yeah, Chris is talking about he had hit one time. He woke up to one tinkering. Which one was it, Chris? Was it the tall gray type? So nuclear and quantum lasers says Michael's QiGong cannot defeat my tiger style. Haha. I woke up in paralysis. It was a lot of work to break out. Yeah, that was my first encounter. Well, I had it as a kid too, early on. But then when I was about 10, some of the benevolent ones, one of the little benevolent ones who freaked me out because he wasn't the best looking little guy, in my opinion anyway. But he is he's not a bad guy. He just freaked me out. But they kind of more like this is what he looks like. And I just woke up to him by my side, and afterwards I got instruction that it really is in some ways more like a Harry Potter world. You got to use your focused intent, because when I was younger, and I was brought up Catholic and Christian, and we jumped over to different churches. I went to every type of church, every type, from evangelical to Pentecostal to Jews for Jesus. I did everything in my search. And so I woke up one time with that sleep paralysis, and I was just crying in the name of Jesus for it to get out and get away. And it took a long time. Honestly, it did start to go, but it took a while. And now I just have that connection where they have not been able to really do that to me again. And it builds up. It's more about just understanding, that it really is. It's an energetic thing. So just like in QiGong, you could draw energy and life force into you. You can also send out energy in a defensive way that will cause them to flee. So, you can.
Yeah, you have it helps. You don't have to grow your energy, but it does help if you kind of grow your energy body. And they can get intimidated. I believe that it feels like they know something that we don't know about ourselves, and that's why they can get intimidated and leave like that. It's like they know they're breaking some kind of rule, like a kid getting kind of caught stealing a candy bar. They're hopeful they can get away with it because it'll be super sweet if they can. But if they get caught, oh my gosh, they throw it down and run. So a little bit immature, kind of like that. It's the best way I can explain it, though.
Yeah, so Ricky says she saw something in her ex's eyes that was last time I saw him, something not human. And they'll take over people, especially people that are very, very lower vibrational. And they can do that, most definitely. This is really a war that's big. I mean, this is big. This is something that's going on 3D, 4D, 5D. It's so big, so vast. And, we're really just one outpost in this war when you get down to it. But we do have help, so that's the beautiful part. Our strong connection to source, exactly, and knowledge of divinity is our best protection. I agree, Crystal Core Art. Yeah, and it's that. And so, we've done something where, and we found it to be super powerful, where we just simply say, I connect to source and my higher self,
Yes.
and renounce any sort of false agreements, false attachments to any of these lower energies, because they will trick us into giving away our power.
They will, and if we're not educated, and they've been very careful to not educate us, we will give away our power, And I think, like, when you're an empath and stuff, and you don't quite exactly understand your abilities, and society has a certain picture of who's crazy and who's not crazy. Well, maybe we're not crazy. Maybe we just have different abilities and our brains work differently, and we're not bad people, but they don't teach us that. Like, if our emotions are all over the place or they're a certain way, they can deem you whatever they want and then throw you in a loony bin. In all reality, you're simply a really strong empath. They do really good about teaching us how to ignore these natural God-given gifts that can be used to heal people.
Definitely. And there's so many different types. So Nomadic Engine says, I saw 3 UFO ships in North Texas while camping with the wife. We both watched each other for a while. It felt welcoming. Because there are, and like last night there was Pleiadian energies coming through, as well as other beings. We both get such impressions. But, from doing our practice every day, that just keeps increasing our ability to connect. And so you have all different types. We've connected to energy that comes from Sirius. We've connected to the beings that we would call the Devas very strongly from the Hindu tradition. And a lot of these beings are, 5D. They're all different densities. As you get above 5D, you get to like 60. 5D is transitioning into more of a unity consciousness, really. I mean, we're just starting to create the seeds of unity consciousness. I believe that, like, when Lemuria was here, we were in more of a 5D reality, and then we fell. And, the Atlanteans supposedly were the ones that opened and rent the veil and allowed the dark energies to come into our reality here. So what happened?
I don't know. I feel like something was trying to poke in my energy field. It's okay.
Okay. Living with Cindy is like a trip, because you never know what she's going to be seeing.
Like a box of chocolate.
Yeah, because she's like so intuitive. And, what's cool is that often we both see the same thing. And I'll be like, did you see that light just shoot down? I mean, where we have been spending a lot of time now, there's portals. There's some big ass portals, and there's some pretty benevolent beings really close to some some malevolent dominated areas. That's how close these are together. It's pretty crazy.
It is, and it is nice. Like, I think that's why it's important for us to reach out to whoever we're close to. If you're an empath or you see things have abilities, it is nice to have someone who understands and is like, yeah, because I think one trauma that a lot of us have dealt with in life is people don't believe you. They don't believe you. And that in and of itself, depending on what you have experienced growing up, is a form of abuse and a form of trauma. And I think, again, that's done by design. So it is important to know people, whether it be online, your neighbor, understand or know somebody who they don't necessarily need to understand, but you need to know that they trust you. And that's a form of therapy. It's like you have one person you can go to that maybe they don't see what you see, but they believe you. And that's so important these days. And that in and of itself can help start to reverse the lower vibration that they've been trying to, instill upon us.
And I know some of you guys have reached out to like Cindy to do charts and things like that. So we're trying to get caught up on those type of things because we've been doing so much planning and stuff, a lot of planning and a lot of nurturing the plants, growing things, as well as growing our own spiritual connection because, guys, we are in the midst of it. This is huge. This is really huge. And we're very close to some bigger events coming as well as what we've been talking about. So it's almost like if we were going to, do this as a Star Wars episode, instead of The Empire Strikes Back, we'd be looking at The Earth Strikes Back. That's the next episode coming up. The Earth changes that we've seen to this point are not, they're not as big as what's coming. So everything's going to change to another degree. But part of this is the Earth trying to purge itself of the dark energies because these beings are they're cancerous. They're a cancer upon the planet, a cancer to us and everything on it. And so they have to be purged, and they will be purged. And like Cindy was getting the message that the elites might all be taken off and hiding in their tunnels and stuff. And going to their rich bunkers and stuff, but they can't hide. They're not going to be able to hide because there is help underway. The Earth is working with some of these much higher density beings that are coming. So we've talked about the fake alien invasion. Everybody's heard that before. They're going to make you think there's an alien invasion coming. Well, I felt like all along that what they're getting ready for is for, a battle, but the battle will be against the good ones because they know that there is help from these higher densities. And really, it's just a matter of us kind of raising our vibration up. That is the number one thing. As we raise our vibration up and we get out of the fear and out of the darkness, their control starts to slip. They start to not be able to hold on to us. And we start to actually fight from the other side with more force against them.
Yeah, so as our vibration goes up, we make different choices and different decisions through a brand new perspective, a brand new, a new pair of glasses, so to speak. And with our different choices and actions, that's going to help mitigate the changes that are underway. That's just what keeps coming to me is our vibration is so important right now. I just can't stress it enough. I'll just keep saying it and saying it till my last breath. Your vibration is critical.
Yeah, we see some of these, like here we have an aftershock of 3.1, and you could see the big one that's right here, 5.0. And this is, of course, this is fracking area too. And so, obviously they've screwed with the Earth for such a high degree. You could see this line developing as well. And so this really kind of goes all the way down to here. And this is all part of the way that the plume goes all the way up into Yellowstone area through Utah, cuts across Nevada, cuts through the Mojave area, heads down towards San Diego. And there's a lot of activity going on, guys. There's a lot of activity, a little bit more of a stronger line through Ridgecrest area again. And, we know there's bases there. This is that area I was telling you about in the Panamint Mountains where there's that mysterious city of gold, all sorts of crazy artifacts down in there. And you can see that's a bombing run going on Nellis. They're just dropping bombs, doing their practicing there. There's a couple of them. And you have clusters going on as we were talking about before. Mammoth Lakes, that's a super volcano. Up at the geysers, we see still, look at that little swarm going on over here just south of Carson City. There's 18 quakes. Things are building. We're going to see some big quakes on the West Coast. And I do, my particular take is that by 2024, we'll see the New Madrid go. But I think first we're going to end up seeing Cascadia. And then we'll have the San Andreas we have the Garlock fault moving, which we know cuts through this area. That is the Garlock right there, and we've driven through there. And it's coming, guys. It's coming. We're getting closer to some big ones. We had that 7-8, or it was downgraded, of course, over here, and you see a few more aftershocks still out here. But yeah, it is coming. The bigger earth changes are coming. We see a 6.1 over in the Philippines, 5.8 Indonesia, 5.4. You see over here, 5.0 in Algeria, 5.1. And let's see what we got down. There's 31 in the area of Puerto Rico that they're showing. There's probably more than that as well. And you got one over here, a little bit unusual. Kernersville, North Carolina. And way up here, up in Canada. Of course, this whole area up in here is supposed to rift more. And the St. Lawrence River is going to be much, much wider in the future, as eventually the country will be split by the little Mississippi Sea that will develop.
Yeah, so Mother Earth is probably getting us prepared for some changes soon to come. And honestly, I wouldn't be sad if a CME hit. As long as nobody gets hurt. I really don't want people to get hurt. But the technology, they can stick it. The technology, the things that I feel are coming are really going to lower our vibration to a point where we're just going to be total and complete slaves to the system. And if there's something that can come in and change that, then change what I'm seeing as far as how they're going to control us, then I'm all for that.
Hence, we got to be self-sufficient as possible, and get ready to totally unplug and just go within and reconnect to the earth as well. Reconnecting to the earth is going to help us raise our vibrations because she's raising hers. So that's going to help a lot. And, these dark forces, they control us through the money system and through fear and technology. So when you look back at the time period, when we look way back, we see advanced know-how, but yet they chose to build things that were in harmony with the earth. That were not going to be a plague to the earth when we look way, way back. Yeah, like rock walls, natural formations, even though, it's amazing that they could do what they've done. And we've seen some of them out in the middle of nowhere, that are seamed together incredibly, big blocks that would take a big crane, to lift into place. And yet, they're obviously very, very ancient, and there's nobody ever supposedly lived over in this area besides, Native Americans who supposedly didn't have that much technology. So, it's just big question marks. But, we're going to go back to the ways of the natives, and that is going to be the only way that we're going to be able to get back in harmony with the earth, with the planet, and with each other as well. And so that's why they've so attacked all the native people around the world.
I think so. I think that our ancestors, Native Americans and our ancestors, knew things that were really critical to survive during these times. And so they made sure to try to squash that DNA line. But I think what they didn't count on, though, is the little bit of DNA that is left. We can tap into that, our ancestral DNA, and download things that can help us.
Definitely. And so that was the Department of Justice who did a live briefing about Nicolas Maduro and being a drug czar. So, this is, again, the powers that be still saying that, what they want is they want Venezuela's oil, and they want Venezuela on the Illuminati banking system is the bottom line. So, people take things... Now, I opened this up from Godlike. Somebody at Godlike was saying, look, Department of Justice doing a briefing. They're going to be pulling out all those 144,000 sealed indictments, But when you look at it, all they're doing is they're talking about Maduro and labeling him a drug lord so that they could, again, try to ratchet up the conversation about invading Venezuela and taking over their oil and putting them on, the globalist banking system, which is coming. So it's more of the same, and I don't know where people think that, those sealed indictments have anything to do with Maduro and Venezuela and oil and gold, by the way, because Venezuela has a lot of gold too. So, I feel like there's so much disinfo out there, and, false hope being spread in the wrong places, unfortunately. And so when you take away somebody's false hope, they put all their trust in one line of thinking, and we shouldn't be putting our trust into any of the leaders that we see, because the world is so corrupt, and that's just the reality of it. You have to go within, and let's start to build trust with each other as a populace, and as we strive towards creating more unity consciousness.
Yeah, that's really important. Building trusting relationships. They also need to be safe relationships with the people you're with, because a lot of people don't understand us and the way we are and the things that we see. So I think it's time that we, maybe after we talked to that guy yesterday, I was just so relieved that it seems like the common populace is starting to see and understand that things are not as we've been taught. So I feel like these days it's a little safer to reach out to your neighbor and talk to your neighbor about emotions and feelings and empaths and abilities, and start building those relationships with those around you and build trusting, safe ones.
Definitely. And, Anna was asking about what part of the desert do you suggest to live land-wise with decent aquifers. David Devine, Adapt 2030, I'm not sure if... I had a discussion with him, and boy, does he know that stuff inside out. And I'll have to look through some of our old discussions, because he sent me some great material that I'm not sure if he published anywhere else, because he does have that knowledge. But David and I have always talked about the desert blooming, and in particularly if you're in southern Arizona, they're getting good rains. And as far as earthbag houses and stuff, Cochise County didn't have any regulations. They were talking about it now. When we were in Tombstone and we were down in Bisbee, I just love the area. Sierra Vista, the whole area just felt really kind of homish and good. And there's a lot of people that are living off grid down there, and a lot of people, creating earthbag houses and the like. And then when you go up to New Mexico, and you go up above Santa Fe, you head towards Taos, there's a ton of people doing the same thing. There it's colder. Both are good choices. It's colder, obviously, in New Mexico and in southern Colorado. So for me, personal preference, I like southern Arizona, probably the best, but everybody has to make their own decision, and as far as that goes. And of course, you would just look for good buys and see what's out there. I think everything's going to collapse. So I think that, you'll be able to get a small piece of land a lot cheaper probably than what you could have in the past, and get it rolling, get some homesteading. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a break where people could start to put into plan some things and make some moves. Right now we're on lockdown. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of a break between the waves. that are coming?
I think so, but I think we're still going to need that time to prepare for what's coming. It would be nice to have a little bit of loose time, but with the way things are with money and time and everything, I think we're going to end up using that time just to still gain our footing.
Most definitely. So, guys, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Very impromptu, and it's good to talk to you guys. I mean, this is like the inner circle here, so it's nice to talk like just so open and frank with you guys and share with you what we're really getting, which is a lot, because this has been like our prime focus now too, is just developing our connection to the higher densities and going within, and also getting ready for that next stage, because my gut is telling me that we're going to start to have later on this year probably rolling blackouts, periodic grid failures. I wouldn't doubt it if it starts towards like November. That's just what I'm getting, is that's going to be the next thing that's going to start to kick in. So, also just prepare, because next winter, could be a situation where if you're not able to heat a place, without the grid being up, just be aware of that, as well, because eventually, the sun's going to wake up. And so, if it's not a Chinese EMP, it'll be the sun's CME.
Yeah, it's going to be something. So, getting along with your fellow man, maybe going back, and if you have relationships with real blood family that can be repaired, I would start to repair those relationships and just start working together. Find people in your community that might be lonely, reach out, volunteer, get out of your own head. That usually helps us grow the most.
And so we're going to just kind of load things up on the truck, and then we'll come back and do a quick little live from the first channel before we head out. And so much love, guys. We love you guys so much. Be safe out there. God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.